Hello, my name is Kenna Campbell, and I'm doing my presentation on Soren Kierkegaard. He was born May 5th, 1813 in Copenhagen, Denmark. He lived there the majority of his life. He was the youngest of seven, and his father was a very successful wool merchant. And after he retired at age 40, he died and left a very large inheritance to his son Soren. Due to his father's melancholy, pietistic faith, thoughts of sin and grace, it largely affected how Soren saw the world for the rest of his life. In 1830, Soren entered the University of Copenhagen, and he studied theology, philosophy, and literature. I love the thought that he had after he studied, and it was, first of all, he must know himself before he would know what to do with his life. In my opinion, I think that is so true because I personally can't do anything successful unless I know my own strengths and my own weaknesses. After he studied at the University of Copenhagen, he was a Latin teacher, and in 1841 he finished his first well-recognized book that was called Unbegribet Irony. In this book, he critiqued all philosophical system building and formulated the thesis that subjectivity is truth. In 1848, he was writing The Attack upon Christendom and found out he had a spinal disease and maybe epilepsy. In October 1855, he collapsed on the street and died a few weeks later on November 11th. The major contributions that Soren made included many things. His philosophy was very wide-ranged, and his philosophy was focused a lot on religion. But he kept the same theory throughout all of his life, and that is subjectivity is truth. He believes how someone lives their life to be prime criteria for being in the truth. One of his main purposes was renewing Christian faith within Christendom. He was also largely recognized as the father of existentialism, and for his critiques of Hegel and other romantics after he wrote his first well-known book called Unbegribet Irony. He is also well known for his philosophical, psychological, literary, and theological categories. Some of these categories include anxiety, despair, irony, and the list goes on to many others. He has definitely changed teaching because it gives the students a certain kind of freedom. So many teachers now avoid forcing students to perform, maybe because they're lazy or maybe because they really do want the kids to learn from their mistakes. But I personally think that more often than not, most teachers will have that theory because they do want their students to succeed, and they want their students to be able to learn from the consequences that they receive. A great thought from him that I really enjoyed is only in choices does free self exist. To me, this shows that we can only really be ourselves and we can only really be free and be able to express ourselves when we make our own choices and when we're making the choices that are really going to affect us and are really the important choices in life. This has greatly affected me because throughout school, kindergarten, all the way into college, the best way that I learn is to make mistakes and to learn from those consequences. So when my teachers give me a choice and they say, you can do this or you can choose not to, but there will always be this consequence, it has really built me into a better student. So instead of just going through the motions and just continuing on and doing one assignment after another because I have to, I actually enjoy learning. And I'll do one assignment after another, looking forward to the next because I love to learn and I love to build my knowledge. And So I think that this theory and this Soren Kierkegaard, I think that all of his philosophies, I think that they really affected me for the positive, mostly because he's kind of geared our teachers nowadays in our education system to follow more of an act and be acted upon almost theory, to where you make your choice, and depending on that choice, then you will get the consequence that you deserve from it. And that's also how our life is today, with the gospel especially, is that we have our agency. We always have had our agency. And we can make any choice we want, but there will always be the consequence to follow. So I love this. I love this. I love this philosopher, and I think he's definitely made a huge impact on this world. And thank you for listening. And this has been the presentation on Soren Kierkegaard from Kenna Campbell.